Morning, 1 minute to 7 in the kibbutz. All is quiet. Here we are. Now this is the kibbutz mini market. And here we are, opening up for business. Hi, good morning to everybody. At 4:45 a.m. this morning, you commented, "In Israel proper, you have created a separate underclass. All you are saying is, we let some of them work for us, so it's not apartheid." Coming into my local clinic, the regional clinic.
טוב, בסדר, יש לה עוד כמה נשארים.
מה?
יש לה עוד כמה נשאר שם.
אז תביא לי, give me the box to give you, okay?
בסדר. It's a box, yellow color, the bag.
לא נכון, אז איפה אפשר לשים?
No, not orange, just yellow.
This is the local supermarket, day 18 of the war.
شوي اكثر بعد الثلاث بس لاي ساعه الاشين مثل ما نطيب.
Coming into a local gas station and restaurant on day 18. Day 18 of the war. This is the restaurant. It's called Ahmed Said Shipudim. I'm inside the restaurant now, and the food is delicious. You have just seen Muslim citizens of Israel. They live in the only democracy in the Middle East, here in Israel. Apartheid? They don't sit at the back of the bus, they drive them, they drive trucks. They can go wherever they like in Israel driving their cars. Both sexes can study in Israeli universities, and they do. Some years ago, Avigdor Lieberman, a right-wing politician here in Israel, suggested a transfer plan. I didn't like the name transfer, but he didn't mean transfer of Israeli Arabs somewhere else, let's say to the West Bank. He meant moving the border of the West Bank to encompass them. They could then live in the Palestinian Authority. And what happened then? Those Israeli Arabs rejected the idea outright. Why? Because they are much better off as Israeli citizens than they would be under an autonomous Palestinian self-rule government. There is no apartheid here. They are not second-class citizens. Okay, now let's talk about the other group, the Muslims in Gaza and the West Bank. Israel gave Gaza back to the Palestinians in 2006. We disengaged unilaterally. Do you remember that? No, I'm sure you don't. I'll say it again. We gave it back to them. They had it. We do not occupy Gaza. 18 years ago, we tore down 21 Jewish settlements. Hamas took over. They kicked out El Fatah. Yes, they governed it, not us. You see those slogans in the streets, in demonstrations. Free Palestine. You've seen it in all the demonstrations in the streets of London, Paris, New York, Amsterdam, Berlin, Madrid, Ankara, Lisbon, Geneva, Manchester. Free Palestine. Empty slogans meaning nothing. Nothing to do with reality. Well, we freed Palestine, Western Palestine, in Gaza. And see what they did. They rocketed us for 18 years. That's why we put up the fence. That's why we blockaded them by sea. This is not apartheid. This is us and them in separate countries. They can do what they like in Gaza as far as I'm concerned. That separation is not apartheid. It's a border fence between two separate zones, two separate countries. Whatever you want to call Gaza, I call it Western Palestine. And see what they did. Okay, now let's look at the other largest group of Muslims in the West Bank, Palestinians. Let me say categorically, with no nuances, I personally, Ivry Tasker, think that those people there in the West Bank should have their own country. You can quote me on that. I think we should tear down the Israeli settlements there. I think we should evacuate the 250,000 Israelis who live there. But on two conditions. The first condition is they must recognize the state of Israel. They should declare that they do not want to kill us, that they do not want to drive us into the sea. It's as simple as that. And the second condition, as a practical implementation of that declaration, is that they should have no standing army. They must accept Eastern Palestine in the West Bank as a fully demilitarized zone. And that's also a very simple statement, but hopefully That's what I would like to see, those two conditions: peace with Israel and full demilitarization. If that were to happen, what do you think would be in the West Bank? Just think about it for a moment in the light of the present war and those murderous attacks by Hamas. Really, just think. Come on, start thinking. Let's look elsewhere in the world. Arabs are killing each other all over the Arab world. Did you forget about Syria? In the civil war there, the president of Syria barrel bombed his own hospitals and schools and civilian population. He killed 500,000 of his own people. 4 million Syrians fled. Where are they now? The Western European refugees. What happened to you, those liberal demonstrators? Why didn't you shout and scream, "Free Syria"? Arabs did that to themselves. What would they do to us Jews if we gave them the West Bank now? I live only 5 miles from the West Bank. Why do we have a wall and a fence separating us in Israel proper from the West Bank? You see the wall. And then what do? You don't think. You scream and shout, "Apartheid!" Bullshit. Codswallop. Baloney. Complete and utter nonsense. It's got nothing to do with apartheid. We built it to stop suicide bombers coming into our towns. We lost hundreds of people before that who were murdered before we put up that barrier. It's a defensive barrier. It's not locking them in. It's locking out murderous Hamas hordes from coming into Israel. All those empty slogans, fake news, lies spread by Hamas and by Islamic Jihad, and people in the liberal Western democracies just swallow them up and don't even think about what the real facts are. You just react. You don't know. You listen to lies. 2 million Israeli Arabs as citizens of Israel are free. No apartheid, no second-class citizens. West Bank Arabs and Gazan Arabs are not free. Hamas rules over 2.2 million of them in Gaza. Al-Fatah rules over most of the 5 million Palestinians in the West Bank, and Israel rules over the other part of the West Bank. And I'll say it again, I want Israel to relinquish this occupation of parts of the West Bank. But if we do, what is going to happen? Do I really want Hamastan 5 miles away from my house? In present circumstances, do I really look that stupid to you? Okay, that's it for now. Please share this video and my previous ones. Thank you. Bye for now.